Yeah, I guess there is room for one more. Perfect. Hi. So I've watched Shadow and Bone on Netflix, and I want to talk about it. I thought that I'd do more of a structured video this time, by which I mean I'm still gonna be rambling, but in a more organized way. So let's start with what's the deal with the Shadow and Bone Netflix series. It's based on books by Leigh Bardugo set in the Grishaverse. Yes, multiple books. And there are 3 storylines, I'd say 2.5 storylines to follow for viewers. One of them, the main one, follows the plot of the first book in the Grisha trilogy, about which I talked in my March wrap-up, Shadow and Bone. It's basically it, so from the beginning to the end. So this is a story of a girl called Alina, who finds out she has a magical power that might be able to save the land from the Shadow Fold. And she goes to a place where magic users, the Grisha, can train. The other plotline is based on Six of Crows, by which I mean it uses the characters, but it doesn't use the plot. It serves as a kind of prequel to the Six of Crows duology, and none of it is described in the books, but it still feels kind of plausible for the characters to do the things. So basically, those 3 teenage criminals, Kaz, Inej, and Jesper, are tasked with kidnapping Alina from the main plotline and bringing her to this place called Ketterdam. And then there's the last plotline, which follows a Grisha called Nina. The events of this plotline are described in Six of Crows, but only as flashbacks. And this semi-plotline, it's a bit shorter than the other 2. It may seem redundant to non-readers at first because, its connection with the other ones is a bit tenuous, but it's really neatly sets up some things and characters for the upcoming seasons, hopefully. So that's the overview of the plot. Very rough, I'd say. Oh, by the way, I think I'm gonna do it with no spoilers. I hope so. So, if you didn't watch the show or you didn't read the books, what are you waiting for, actually? Like, do it. Just do it. Just do it!
Do it!
So let's move on to characters. So the characters are the main strength of the show. There are 2 types of characters in the show. Those which perfectly embody the ones from the books, and those which are the improved versions of the ones of the books. So yeah, it's pretty good. A lot of respect for casting directors and actors, because they did a marvelous job and they really gave their all to this wonderful series. So the perfect ones are the Crows, especially. Kaz, Inej, and Jesper are wonderful. I didn't think, and I believe many book fans didn't think it was possible to cast them so well, but they did, and they're just great to watch. And then there are Nina, Matthias, who are great. Matthias is actually more of the improved type, but yeah. Kind of more background characters in this season, at least. Genya, Zoya is very despicable. David is great. So I didn't mention all of the great characters, but yeah, respect to all the actors it's really wonderful. And then we have the improved, and those are mostly the main characters of the Grisha trilogy. So Alina, Mao, and the Darkling. Alina, who is played by Jessie May Lee, is just great in this. Because in the books she's a very typical YA novel protagonist. And here she is a literal beam of sunshine. Jessie May Lee's performance elevates this character to no end. This is also true for Mao, who is Alina's childhood best friend / love interest. And in the books, I don't know if anyone ships Alina and Mao in the books, but here you can see the chemistry. So Archie Renaud did a really great job of making Mao into an actually likable character. He's still not great. He's no Jesper, for example, but yeah, it's still no mean feat to do that. And then we have Ben Barnes as General Kirigan / the Darkling. He brings this kind of air of relatability. He makes the viewer understand the motives of the Darkling really well, and it's great. So everyone, good job, well done. In the second season, if it comes out, I really hope it does. It really should. They should cast Wylan and Nikolai, who are two of my favorite characters, and I'm really, given their record up till now, it's gonna be a blast. Okay, so now I want to discuss how the series works as an adaptation of the books, because that's what it is, essentially. So first, let's discuss the Shadow and Bone part. I mean the book Shadow and Bone part. The book is told from Alina's viewpoint exclusively. So what she doesn't see, we don't see. And of course, given the difference in medium, in the show they can remedy that and show us what the Darkling or Mao are doing at a given moment, and it really helps move the plot forward, and we don't spend that much time with Alina, which is good. I mean, Alina is great in this, but still, it's good to see what the others are up to. And a second thing is, because the pacing is really fast, there are no dull moments in the show. They don't really have time to showcase Alina's time at the Little Palace, so we don't really get the sense how much time has passed, and how at first she feels very strange in this place, like an outsider, and she slowly starts to fit in. So we don't get to see that as much, but I think it is a necessary concession, and I'm okay with that, given that we have so much more in other places. In case of the Crows, because prequels are tricky, and to combine and conflate two stories which take place in a different time period, there needs to be some stretching, some working around obstacles, and they do that very well. I mean, I found it plausible. Every character behaved like themselves, so there was just no sense of strangeness about it. Like, I wasn't watching it and thinking, what are they doing? Because it could have happened. It didn't, but it could have. So that was really great. And I think it's really hard to combine stories like this, and the way they did it, the points when they are combined, when these characters that never actually meet in the books are together in a scene, is handled really well. So congratulations to them. Another thing is how they managed to bring to life this completely different world with costumes and sets. I believe it was mostly shot in Budapest, and its buildings really work for Ravka, and all the costumes are wonderful, especially the colorful keftas. So it really worked to bring this world into life. The special effects are mostly really good. There are a few exceptions, but I'm not really that much of a connoisseur of special effects, so I didn't even notice. I only heard about them afterwards. Another admirable thing is how they developed languages to be spoken by different nations in the show, which I always think is going an extra mile. They worked, I think, with experts who also worked on Game of Thrones, so probably the best in the field. I don't know, but really they deserve all respect, because the languages really sounded like something that could be spoken in the real world, so that was great. Then another thing is there any other thing? I don't know, honestly. Okay. Finally, I want to kind of talk about my general thoughts about the series and some of my favorite moments, my favorite characters. So this is gonna be more chaotic. I should say even more chaotic than the previous sections. So first of all, I cried during the scene where the author, Leigh Bardugo, is the first one to hug Alina when she comes to the palace. Because you know how you can feel secondhand embarrassment for someone? I felt secondhand pride for her. Imagine having your work so carefully adapted into a series so that many more people can experience it, and being able to be a part of it, just even if just for a cameo. It's wonderful. I turned up for that one. Yeah, so that was really great. Another thing, Alina makes him up. In probably the first scene of the series, she draws a map. And yeah, I was really happy. That was one of my main criticisms of the Grisha series, the book series, so they fixed that. I have no complaints. Another thing, a wonderful addition to the main cast of characters is the goat, Milo, which is also connected with the facet of the show I haven't talked about really, humor. It's funny. It's laugh out loud funny. I really love this sense of humor, this kind of witty remarks, especially from the crows, and yeah, it's got some serious themes going on, but it still manages to be funny, and that's great. And finally, all Jesper scenes. I mean, I'm not gonna discuss it at length because they speak for themselves. Just if you watch the show, or if you've watched it already, you know what I'm talking about. It's wonderful. Just great. Oh, by the way, second time I watched the show, I watched it with non-readers, so my friends haven't read any of the books. and they also really loved it. So do not feel discouraged if you don't really want to read the books, although you should. Just go watch the show. It's really great. It's great as an adaptation, and it's great as a fun Netflix series to binge. It took 7 hours? It's not that long. It's like one day. So yeah, I really recommend Shadow and Bone on Netflix, and I pray that they pick it up for a second season and the third season and all the rest, but let's hope for the second season for now.